Hello to the fourth grade. This is Mr. Bowman, and Mrs. Schrader has actually asked me to read this book, Santiata, Lion King of Mali, to everyone in fourth grade. So I thought that'd be fun. So I'm going to set this up a little bit so that you can see the pictures as I read. So it'll just take a minute here, because this will hold it steady. And there we go. Santiata, Lion King of Mali, by David Wisniewski. Santiata, Lion King of Mali. So he did the story and the pictures. Listen to me, children of the bright country, and hear the great deeds of ages past. The words I speak are those of my father and his father before him, pure and full of truth. For we are griots. Centuries of law and learning reside within our minds. Thus we serve kings with the wisdom of history, bringing to life the lessons of the past so that the future may flourish. Listen then to the story of Santiata, the Lion King, who overcame all things to walk with greatness. So the griots were before they had books, and they would hold history in their minds. As the lion rules the savannah with power and grace, so did Magan, Ganvata, rule Mali. One day, 2 hunters approached his throne. Between them walked a maiden, hunchbacked and ill-tempered. King Magan caught his breath, for such a visit had been foretold. "Great king," said the hunters, "we come from the land of Du, where a terrible buffalo ravaged the countryside. We slew it, and in gratitude the king of Du bade us bring this damsel to you. Her name is Sagalin Kajuru. Though homely, she is said to possess the very spirit of that buffalo, strong and courageous. Of such spirits great kings are born," whispered Magan's griot. "The son of lion and buffalo will be mighty indeed." So advised, the king wed Sagalin and grew to love her. The next year, Sagalin gave birth to a boy. All rejoiced except Sasuma Bariti, the first wife of the king. "Magan already has my fine son as his heir," she muttered bitterly. "What need has he of another, especially from this hideous woman?" But the new prince, Santiata, though blessed by the spirits of buffalo and lion, proved unable to speak or walk. At this, Sasuma Bariti rejoiced. For 7 years, Sagalin tried in vain to heal her son with potions and herbs. Santiata dragged himself through the palace, ignored by some, ridiculed by others. His mother was heartbroken and his father despaired. "How small the seed from which a great tree springs," counseled the king's griot, "and what storms the first sprout endures. Santiata will grow in his own time, not yours, great king." The next day, Magan ordered his son brought before him. "My time grows short, Santiata," he said. "So now I must present the gift that each king gives his heir." A young man stepped forward. "This is Bala Fasiki," the king continued. "As his father has been my griot, so will he be yours. From him you will learn the history of your ancestors and the laws of this life. May your destiny be fulfilled, my son." Santiata sat up slowly, motioned Bali Fasiki to his side, and spoke his first words. "Bala, you are my griot." Magan's doubts disappeared, and he prepared Santiata to rule. But when Magan Kanvata died, the council of elders paid no attention to his wishes. Instead, they allowed the son of Susuma, Bariti, to ascend the throne. Filled with pride, Susuma lost no time in taunting Santiata's mother. It would seem that a walking boy is better than a crawling lion. Seeing Sagalin's tears, Santiata summoned Basi Fasiki. Go to the master smith, he ordered, and fetch me an iron rod. When Bala returned, Santiata seized the rod with both hands, thrust it into the ground, and raised himself to his knees. Then, with a mighty effort, he pulled himself to his feet. The iron rod fell away, bent with strain, and Santiata stood alone. A crowd gathered in amazement as Santiata took a step, then another, and another. Make way! Make way! Cried Bala Fasiki. The lion is walking. When Sasuma Bariti heard of Santiata's new strength, she feared he would challenge her son for the throne. Late one night, she called the 9 great witches of Mali to her bedside. You must use your powers to kill Santiata, she commanded. Our magic is useless without his anger, said the witches. Go to his mother's garden and pick her spices, hissed Sasuma. That will surely make him angry enough. But when Santiata found the witches in his mother's garden, he greeted them courteously and helped them gather the spices. Alas, Queen, the witches reported, our magic cannot hurt a heart full of kindness. You can do nothing to him. So Sasuma Bariti bided her time. When Santiata was 10 years old, she had Bala Fasiki sent away to the court of Soso. This evil land was ruled by Samanguru, a sorcerer king, whose huge armies and powerful magic were greatly feared. Impressed by the young griot's skill, Samanguru resolved to keep him in Sasu forever. Santiato was angered and saddened by the loss of his friends, and Sagalin's wise words brought new pain. We must leave Mali, she said, before our kin fall victim to the queen's hatred. When you are a man, you will return and set all things right. Santiata reluctantly agreed. That evening, Sagalin and her children left all that they knew and loved. For 7 years, the family traveled the harsh roads of exile, journeying through forest and plain, from kingdom to kingdom. Rulers, fearful of the queen's displeasure, denied them shelter, and some gates were closed against them. Yet Santiata grew in mind and spirit, even as his body grew in stature and strength. In all these trials, Santiata never forgot Bala Fasiki. At every court and caravan, he heard of the growing power of Samanguru and of the unhappy lands under his control. The family ended their travels in the city of Mima. Weary and ill, Sagalin rested by the banks of the Niger. Santiata found favor with the king of Mima, who took him on campaigns against the mountain tribes that troubled his kingdom. Observing Santiata's courage and leadership, he decided to make the young prince his heir. He taught Santiata the ways of war and government, and looked upon him as a son. One day, frantic messengers pleaded to speak with Santiata. Son of lion and buffalo, they implored, return to your homeland. Whatever honors you hold in Mima, leave them and deliver your land from fire and sword. What has happened? Asked Santiata. Samanguru has invaded Mali, they said. The king and his mother have fled. Our people have taken to the bush to fight, but they are leaderless. We have consulted the seers, and they say that only you can save Mali. The throne of your father awaits you. The moment has come, my son, whispered Sagalin. Your destiny is about to be fulfilled. Sandiata lost no time. The king of Mima gave him half his army, rank upon rank of armored horsemen carrying great iron spears. Riding at the head of this column, Sandiata stopped at every kingdom that had aided him during his long exile and gathered more troops. Soon a mighty host covered the savannah, and the thunder of hooves could be heard many miles away. The two armies clashed on the plain of Carina. All day the battle raged. Astride his great charger, Sandiata galloped through the fray, searching for Samanguru. Suddenly Bala Fasiki was at Sandiata's side. The two friends embraced. "I escaped from the palace and followed Samanguro's army, hoping to find you," said Bala. "For these 7 years I have pretended allegiance to the sorcerer, and I have managed to discover his weakness." He pulled a wooden arrow from his robe. It was tipped with the spur of a white rooster. "This is the Tana of Samanguro," Bala continued. "The charm he believes will erase his power. The slightest touch will defeat him utterly." Sandiata took the arrow and spurred his horse back into battle. He made his way through the dust and confusion to the hill where the sorcerer stood. Notching the arrow, he drew his mighty bow and let it fly. Oh, that was a great story. Well, I guess that's the end. Huh? Oh, what? Well, no, I think there's some more. The arrow flew straight and true, cutting through Samanguro's cape and grazing his shoulder. At the sight of the Tana, the sorcerer let out a harsh cry and galloped from the field. Pursued by Sandiata and Bala Fasiki, Samanguru fled to the slopes of Mount Kirakuro and staggered into a dark cave. "Powers of night," he cried, "do not let me fall in the hands of Sandiata." It is said that Samanguru then became one with the stone of the cave, for he was never seen again. Disheartened by his flight, the sorcerer's army went down to defeat. Sandiata returned in glory to Mali, crowds lined the road the entire journey, shouting his praise. The 12 kings who had aided him in exile and in battle waited at his throne. As Sandiata sat, they drove their spears into the ground before him, swearing allegiance forever. Sandiata spoke softly, and Bala Fasiki conveyed his words to the multitude. "Hatred drove me from this land," he said, "because of what I have seemed to be a crawling child, unworthy of respect and unfit to rule. Mali has suffered great hardship as a result. Now I return as your king. Henceforth, none shall interfere with another's destiny. You, your children, and your children's children shall find their appointed place within this land forever." This came to pass, and Sandiata, the Lion King, ruled the bright country for many golden years. And then, if you're interested, there's more notes about specifics of the battle and what happened and all of those sorts of things. That was a really, really nice story. Appreciate it, Mrs. Schrader, for having me read that to the 4th grade.